An old sedan, weary from the road, sputtered to a halt before a secluded house, a dark silhouette against a sky bruised by an impending storm. The driver's door opened and Father Michael emerged, his face a roadmap of exhaustion, yet his eyes held a steely resolve. Behind him, his young apprentice, Father David, followed, his knuckles white as he clutched a leather-bound Bible. They were greeted at the door by a desperate family and led into a room where the air was unnaturally cold. In the center of it all sat Anna, a young woman so frail and vacant she seemed more a ghost than a person. The silence in the room was a heavy, suffocating blanket, a stillness that preceded a tempest. Father Michael began the initial rite, his Latin prayers a steady anchor in the oppressive atmosphere. He moved with a practiced calm, his presence a stark contrast to the nervous energy radiating from the family and the wide-eyed fear of Father David. As he sprinkled holy water onto Anna's forehead, her body jolted as if struck by lightning. Her head snapped back at an impossible angle, and her eyes flew open, revealing not the gentle blue they once were, but two black, bottomless voids. A chorus of voices, hoarse, ancient, and seething with a primordial hate, erupted from her throat, a cacophony of damnation. Through the demonic choir, one voice rose, smooth and chillingly articulate. "You seek one," it sneered from Anna's lips, "but we are 70. It paused, savoring the moment. "And I am Asmodeus." The Bible slipped from David's numb fingers, thudding onto the floorboards with a sound that was deafening in the sudden silence. The spiritual siege that followed was a blur of sleepless days and tormented nights. Michael and David remained perpetually in the room, their faces growing gaunt and pale under the constant strain. The battle was relentless, a war fought not with fists but with faith. Asmodeus was a master of psychological warfare, its voice a constant venomous whisper in Michael's ear. It dredged up his deepest insecurities, his past failures, the sins of his youth that he thought long buried and forgiven. It mocked his prayers and twisted his scripture. The room itself became a reflection of the chaos, with furniture overturned, crucifixes shattered, and the very air thick with a palpable malevolence. After what felt like an eternity of this assault, Michael, looking physically and spiritually broken, finally stumbled out of the room. He collapsed onto the cold stone floor of the house's small, dusty chapel, the weight of his own doubt crushing him. His faith, once an unshakable fortress, was wavering under the demon's relentless psychological bombardment. His prayers felt hollow, his words like stones dropping into a bottomless well. From Anna's room, the mocking laughter of Asmodeus echoed, a triumphant sound that seemed to shake the very foundations of the house and of Michael's soul. In the profound silence of the chapel, at his absolute lowest point, something shifted within Father Michael. He found not strength, but surrender. It wasn't about his ability to win, but about his complete and total submission to a power greater than himself, greater than the demon. He rose, and when he returned to the room, the weariness was gone from his eyes, replaced by a serene, unshakable conviction. He ignored the demon's escalating threats and rage, beginning a quiet, persistent prayer. His voice was no longer a weapon, but a shield, calm and unwavering. As Michael held his simple wooden crucifix before Anna, a brilliant, warm light began to emanate from it, cutting through the room's oppressive gloom. Asmodeus and the other 70 demons shrieked in unison, a sound of pure agony as the divine light enveloped Anna's writhing form. With one final deafening roar of defiance that shattered the remaining window panes, the presence was violently and irrevocably expelled from her body. Silence returned. The oppressive cold in the room vanished instantly, replaced by the gentle warmth of the morning sun. Anna's body went limp, and she collapsed onto the bed, breathing peacefully for the first time in weeks. Michael, utterly spent, sagged against the wall, helped to a nearby chair by a tearful but relieved David. The final shot is of Anna, now awake and lucid. Sunlight illuminates her face as she clutches the cross in her hands, her eyes clear. The storm finally over.